Today we'll draw a pin with two chamfers on it. What is a chamfer? It's an angled cut on the end of a thing, and it could be the end of a round thing like a pin, or the inside of a hole, or it could be the edge of a flat square thing. It has two functions, and one is just safety. When you have cut a metal object, it will have a sharp edge and it would be easy for someone to get cut, so the chamfer is safer. Then the other purpose is it makes it easier to assemble this part. For example, if you're trying to put a pin into a hole, it's difficult to do if you have a squared off end, but if you have the end of the pin chamfered, and even better if the hole is also chamfered, then it's easier to kind of tip the thing and get it centered and get it assembled. There are two ways you can specify a chamfer on a drawing. You can use a note with a leader, or you can use dimensions. Here are, this one is backwards. If the chamfer is at a 45-degree angle, and many of them are, then you can use a note. And think about a 45-degree triangle. A 45-degree triangle has the same angle in both corners and the same length of side on both sides. The slopey length is different. The two short sides are the same length. So that means you could point at a chamfer that's a 45-degree angle. You could say, for example, 3 millimeters by 45 degrees, and the 45 means both directions have to be 3. If you would rather, you can use a note that says 3 by 3, which implies that it's a 45-degree angle. Notice the pin on the right here has 2 times 3 by 45 because there's a chamfer at each end. Also notice on the pin that we see an edge where the chamfer was cut. If you have a chamfer that is not 45 degrees, then a note will not work and you have to use a dimension. And you can dimension pretty much any direction you think is best. Here's an example. This is a pin and the dimension says start 3 millimeters back from the end and cut at a 30-degree angle. This is ASME saying if you have a 45-degree angle, you can say size by size, or you can say size by angle. Here's an inch example, 0.125, what is that? That's an eighth of an inch. So 1/8 by 1/8, or you can say 1/8 by 45 degrees. If you're dimensioning these, ASME gives us a number of different directions we can go. Here on the left, we see here's the outside diameter of the hole. It's a 0.75 diameter and cut at a 30-degree angle. And you might say, hey, wait a minute, don't we need the depth dimension too? No, we don't, because we start at a 3/4 inch diameter, we cut a 30-degree angle, and when we get to this smaller hole, that's it. That's the end of the cut, and it is whatever depth it turns out to be. Over here on the far right, we see the other way of dealing with that. Cut a 30-degree angle and start it 1/8 of an inch down from the surface. So you could do that. Here in the middle is a pin where we go down 1/8 of an inch and cut a 30-degree angle. Here is ASME again showing these same kinds of examples. just want to remind us once again when we use spaces and when we don't use spaces. So if we have a note that's talking about a chamfer where we say size by size, there are spaces in there on each side of the X, because the X means by. However, if we are talking about how many there are, for example, 8 holes that are this size, we say 8x, no space there, 8x, then a space, then the size. So when we're talking about quantity, no space. When it's a note that says something by something, then there is a space. This is the pin that we're going to be drawing this time. I will show you the 3D model, and then we'll stop here and we'll start again in a separate video and talk about doing this in CAD. So here's the pin. He gives you some sizes. He points at the chamfer, but of course you would not have your leader arrow going straight up and down like that. And notice he says 2 times 1/4 by 45 degrees. There's one chamfer that goes all the way around the head of the pin, and a second chamfer that goes all the way around the tail of the pin. Let's go look at our 3D thing. So here's the 3D drawing, and I'll come over to the navigation bar and get the orbit command. I just wanted to provide this to you so that you can visualize what that chamfer looks like. See the chamfer on each end? You can visualize what it looks like when you're looking straight on at the side view. Notice how when you have a side view, that edge where you cut the chamfer is visible. There is in fact a line that goes up and down where that chamfer was cut. So there is a line there. We'll stop here and we'll come back and look at CAD in the next video.